Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Bitcoin has seen a fantastic rally back toward the upside following a variety of news releases from President Donald Trump announcing a ceasefire between Israel, Iran, and the USA. This moves towards peace between these regions, of course, which is inherently bullish for the risk asset market. This all came within the last 8 hours, resulting in what had been a massive rally all the way from the sub $100,000 region up into 106,000, now retesting yet again that midline of resistance within the broader consolidation. With this massive bullish news coming out, a big question on everyone's mind is this going to be what triggers a reversal, or is the price still susceptible to downside risk? Will the ceasefire fall through? How will the global conflict move forward? Is it all just one big sham? And are we going to see the price drop back down? We're going to go ahead and answer all of this today to our best of our ability. Of course, with news events, it is always a degree of uncertainty. We never really know what and how the news will develop, particularly around this conflict, and therefore there is a degree of speculation when we discuss this. Nevertheless, we're going to do our best to take a look at the charts for what they are, discuss what is likely, what is happening, what has changed most importantly, and how the price is likely to move moving into the future on the short term and the macro. So before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin, focusing on the facts, the data, the technical and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, just pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, you can join us on Telegram. This is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop with cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. And if you are interested in joining our VIP channel, you can do that by clicking the pinned comment of the free channel, contact our admin by clicking this name, check out our 53+ month trading track record, or check out a 10-minute video showing you inside the VIP channel. You'll get access to 2 channels, the main channel with all of our members and our exclusive VIP group chat with 5 different subgroups. Go ahead and check it out. We'll love to have you join up. Let's jump into the content. So as we can see, guys, a pretty substantial rally here from Bitcoin. If we zoom into the hourly chart, this rally has essentially taken us through the last 6 or so hours of price action, all the way from these lows at sub 100,000 up into that next level of high time frame resistance. And we can see the price action is rallied substantially, showing now some signs of weakness and exhaustion developing at the resistance. But the main thing is that this rally was entirely as a consequence to what has been a little bit of a mess around in regards to this conflict. We've had news that is de-escalating, then we've gone back to news that is escalation, then we've seen bombs drop, then we've seen the planes coming out of Iran, and now we're seeing signs that, again, President Donald Trump is pushing for peace, pushing for this escalation to come to a ceasefire agreement. And we have seen now, over the past few hours, that they did announce that Iran and Israel have agreed to a complete ceasefire, which is obviously very, very bullish for the markets. We've seen as a consequence the dollar drop. We've seen as a consequence the risk asset market pump, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be the S&P 500. But as we mentioned in yesterday's video, when we have the market very, very attentive to specific global events, whether it be a conflict, whether it be interest rates, whether it be other news events, industry-specific news events, the market becomes very emotional and very reactive. The word reactive was used yesterday, and it's very applicable. We have seen a very reactive move toward the upside. As discussed in yesterday's video, if we had any news that the conflict was going to de-escalate, we would very likely see a rally for Bitcoin. We stated that very clearly. We have seen that. But we also stated that even if we see a rally, we need to see more than just the conflict de-escalate for the price to go into new highs. We need to see a lot happen from a technical and a structural perspective, which we'll be discussing in the video today. So let's move over to the market data. We'll come back to all of it again in today's video. There's so much to take a look at. I can hardly get through all of it in one video, but we'll try our best. There are so many elements to how the price action is moving right now from external events. But let's take a look at volume, up 1.9%. 350 billion, of course, as conflicts resolve, we see more certainty coming to the market, we see more volume push in. Liquidations down 25%, 493 million over here. Majority of those liquidations obviously coming from short positions as the prices rallied over the course of the last 12 hours. You can see most of those actually coming 12 hours. But if we're looking at 24-hour liquidations, we actually did have a lot of long liquidations in that first part as Bitcoin did push back down sub 100,000. So liquidating long, liquidating to the upside. Moving over to the DXY. DXY has dropped. This is obvious as a result of, again, the global conflicts de-escalating. We've also seen news that they are actually looking more towards a potential rate cut in July. So that, of course, is going to be obviously also bullish for the market. As we know already, reductions in interest rates have a long-term macro effect, which essentially goes to bolster the risk asset market. If we take a look at our flow chart over here, we can see already falling interest rates decreases debt to service ratios, increases available household cash flow, results in more spending on assets, also results in companies acquiring more debt to leverage that debt to purchase income producing assets, which generates income which they can use to leverage into more debt to then purchase more assets. So all of that goes to increase the risk asset market and is a direct result of interest rates falling. And that is why the market rallies in anticipation of interest rates falling, because as this process here is known to be macro bullish. So the market tries to price all of this in and people try to front run that when they get any sign of interest rates reducing. So we've seen some bullish news over the last 6 hours. And it's very, very amazing. I'm always amazed at how fast sentiment and how fast the market can shift when it comes to news events. We warned that in yesterday's video. Any sort of news event can dramatically alter the direction of the price action in the short term. That is why it's always good to have backup plans, always good to take the price at face value, and always good to remain objective when you're looking at the price action. Nevertheless, all of this movement has not resulted in confirmation we are going to go higher. Now, we're going to discuss that in a second because that might be a controversial opinion, particularly with how much euphoria there is in the market right now as a consequence to these news events. But let's move over to S&P 500. The S&P 500 has bounced fantastic. It's still in its uptrending pattern. As we mentioned yesterday's video, the S&P 500 is still in an upward directional pattern. It is still trending upwards. We are still seeing the momentum decrease, which is represented by our falling momentum. On the positive side, we are seeing higher lows prints. We are absorbing a lot of this selling pressure that is occurring, which is a good sign. It means the sellers are trying to push the price down. The buyers, although are losing momentum, they are still showing a decent amount of strength, bolstering that price from actually dropping, from preventing the sellers getting their hands on it and actually taking control of the price to push it lower. So overall, it is looking pretty decent. Again, if we break through this RSI trend line, in my eyes, that is going to be confirmation that we are going to be breaking through this high and we'll be moving into a new all-time high territory. Until we do that, there is still a risk we see rejections and pullbacks. So again, we are not out of the woods to the S&P 500, but it is showing resilience to this exhaustion, which is a good sign. Again, whether or not this will sustain is another question. Will we see the ceasefire agreement dissolve? Will we see conflicts continue to resume? Just 6 hours ago, that was the expectation. A lot has changed, and a lot can change in another 6 hours. So you need to remain adaptable. Like we mentioned at the start of the week, this climate is incredibly high risk. Anytime there's external events that are massively not only driving the price as a result of everyone paying close attention to it, we generally do see a lot of sporadic price action, a lot of volatility, and a lot of liquidation grabs. So you need to be aware of all of that. Let's jump over to Bitcoin, guys. Before we do, if you are interested in supporting the content, you can go ahead and sign up to BitGet, BitUnix, and BingX using the exchange links down below. You've got a lifetime trading fee discount of 15% up to 45% based on your trading fees. Of course, you'll also go ahead and support me making this content. You'll also go ahead and join a channel which I use and I trust every single day. So go ahead and sign up. You can use the links down below. We'll see you in there. Let's jump into the rest of it. If you are looking for a new exchange or just want to support the channel, sign up to BitUnix with the link down below. You'll get a lifetime trading fee discount of 15%, which can build up to 45% based on your trading volume, as well as access to a bonus reward center, and of course, all of the exclusive campaigns we run on this exchange. You'll also get access to BitUnix being a non-KYC exchange, meaning you can sign up from anywhere in the globe without regulations. And most importantly, I only promote exchanges I trust and I use. As you can see, I trade on BitUnix very regularly, being the highest VIP level with over $500 million in trading volume for the last 30 days. And lastly, if you were interested in signing up to our other two exchanges, BingX or BitGet, you can also do that via the links down below. You as well will get the 15% trading fee discount and everything else that comes with it. Go ahead and sign up. Thank you for supporting. Let's jump back in. Okay, legends, let's go ahead and get into the rest of it. So as you can see, a lot of volatility here on the short term, and I guess the big question here everyone is asking, and I guess if people aren't asking it, they're probably thinking it. They're probably thinking, is this enough? You know, is this it? Is this the moment we'll be waiting for to confirm we're going to go higher? Or are the risk factors still in play? Are we potentially going to see a correction? So there's a lot of angles we can approach and attack this question from. And I guess there's a lot of different directions we need to approach it from, because the market is not only acting to external events, but it is reacting to critical levels on the chart. So let's first and foremost just quickly go over the news and how it is potentially impacting the price action, what to expect, how to react, etc., etc. So as we know, conflicts, bad. De-escalation, good. It's simple as that, right? When we see de-escalation of global conflicts, we generally see risk assets rally, we see the dollar drop, and that is what we are seeing. So provided the ceasefire agreement sustains, provided these conflicts do not continue to escalate, it is good. That's obviously a very good thing. That's what we want. We don't want to see these conflicts escalate. No one wants to see World War III, right? If we see this happen, the prices will most likely sustain and continue upwards. That is the best case scenario. We'll talk about that in a second. If, however, we see these conflicts continue, we see the ceasefire fall through, we see more go on with this, it is very likely that fear, which is what caused a lot of this steeper correction over the last 7 days, could come back into the market and then also result in the price coming down. So it's very, very important everyone understands the essence of what is really driving the price over here. Yes, technical levels are important. Yes, key levels on the chart are important. But when we're looking at what moves price is people buying and selling. Why do people buy and sell? Again, whether it be emotion driving them to do so, whether it be to be personal biases, whether it be to be what people are telling them to do, whether it be gambling, whether it be strategy, whether it be, again, things like news events. Everything goes into a combination to determine whether or not someone is going to act, and their action has a degree of influence on the price of the asset. So when we see these news events, which are inherently going to be bullish, and everyone's reacting or responsive to this, paying attention to this, that is naturally going to push the price upwards. And vice versa will be said, if the news comes out bearish, it will naturally push the price down, exactly as we saw moving into the end of last weekly close. So how is the price looking? From a weekly perspective, now we're going over the news events, so I've talked about how that can impact the price, and you have to pay attention to that. From a weekly perspective, the price is at where it was last week, and nothing's really changed besides the fact that we've seen a steep liquidity grab into these lows over here, 98,000, and then we've seen the news bolster the price up. If we are looking at confirmation for the price to push into new highs, and I guess decrease the potential for potential future corrections, the same factors we need to see play out remain intact. As we've said this entire 4-week period, we need to see a weekly candle close above 106,400. This horizontal line here. Where is that located on the chart? Well, that is sitting perfectly at the midline of this consolidation channel. We've come back to retest the midline of this broader consolidation, this horizontal consolidation. For us to turn bullish again on Bitcoin, to expect continuations into 110, expect continuations into new all-time highs, we need to see 106.4K break on the weekly. The reason we need to see that is, number one, it will invalidate the 62.09 breakdown the RSI. It will result in a positive momentum shift here on the weekly, and of course it will result in a structural break, confirming that the deviation we had seen has been absorbed and failed to result in any more downward price action. We would likely see a continuation upwards. So, are we out of the woods yet on the weekly chart? No, we are not. What have we seen? We've seen a fantastic short-term rally back into levels of resistance as a result of the news being bullish. And that is, of course, amazing. We want to see that. We want World War III to not occur. We want a ceasefire to happen. We want the markets to rally. But what we want is irrelevant. And this is what I've been trying to say the entire time. I'm not sitting here telling you what I want to see. I don't even care what I want to see. It doesn't matter. I trade the short-term charts. I'm not a long-term trader. As you can see, if I just go to my most recent trade I took literally a few minutes ago on my Telegram, we can see over here, this is a 1 minute trade. I took $14,000 profit in 51 seconds on a $10 million position side trade. I don't care what happens in the higher time frame chart, guys. I trade the 1 minute, I trade the 5 minute. I'm a short-term scalp trader. So when I'm talking about this, I'm talking solely based on the probabilities, based on what the technical and the structural levels are saying, and then applying a degree of contextual analysis to relevant news events if and when they develop. In this instance, the rally has been fantastic, but I do not see it as enough from a structural perspective to validate we are going higher. We have not broken through the 106.4K level. We have not closed the weekly candle above the weekly range high, invalidating the deviation which we confirmed on the weekly close. We have not invalidated 62.09, which we know to be already a level of which, when broken, historically has resulted in corrections of 10% or greater for Bitcoin 8 out of the 9 times it has occurred over the past 10 years. So these are all very valid and important things to discuss. We have also not seen a positive momentum shift, with the downtrend of the bearish divergence invalidate, representing absorption has occurred, indicating buyers are back in control. So if all of this said and done, this still means this is going to be a local top. Whether or not it turns into a bear market is entirely a different question. Whether or not it does is irrelevant. What matters is, while this is a local top, the probabilities are not in favor of directional continuations to all-time highs until we break through this high, and therefore the risk is upward. The probabilities are downward. That is what it means, and that is what I'm going to stand by until the charts suggest otherwise. So I make decisions not based on what I want to see, okay? I make decisions based on what the charts are suggesting. I'm just sitting here translating what the charts are suggesting. When we're going to a smaller time frame, what do we see here? We see a very clear pattern. We have our highs. We have our equal highs, right? And then from here, we have got a higher low, or a lower high, a lower high, a lower high. We have not broken this lower high pattern. We are still in an overall downtrend. We have just seen massive amounts of liquidations and large moves volatile moves based on news events. So we'll say it again. For Bitcoin to be confident in a continuation to 110, which if we break, we explode 115,000 with the next target, potentially even higher. Of course, we want to see that occur, right? For that to be occurring, we need to break 106.4. 106.4 on the weekly is going to be this horizontal trend line we'll draw in right over here. Okay, the same level for 3 weeks we failed to break through, only then to see a steep correction of, let's take a look at this correction. It was a pretty steep correction from here. It was around a 7 to 8% correction from that level at 106,000. So a very critical level. Until that happens, guys, everything else discussed is relevant. The risk of corrections is relevant. If we do see corrections develop, the lower targets are still going to be 96,000, 92,000 for Bitcoin. Those are our lower levels of support. If we do see this trend continue downwards, 96,000, 92,000 are potential targets. Of course, we don't want to see that happen because we know already for this to likely develop, we would probably need to see the escalation of this global conflict. And of course, we do not want to see the escalation of that global conflict because we don't want to see the risk of World War III. I don't think anyone in their right mind wants to see the risk of World War III, except maybe weapon manufacturers, all right? And a variety of other people I'm not going to talk about. I don't really know. I don't have the information on that. I'm not big into geopolitics. I definitely don't know enough about war to even have much an opinion, but when we're looking at how the market reacts to news, I do know enough to talk about that. So that is all I mention, okay? So that is it, guys. I think a lot of people are, again, reactive. I think the same people that were bearish here are now for some reason bullish here, even though the price is lower. And I think people in these scenarios believe that when we see volatile moves in one direction, that the price is just going to indefinitely continue in that direction without seeing any sort of pullbacks, absorption, or liquidation grabs in the other way, all right? We generally do see mean reversion. So my whole point of today's video is number one, to tell you that the macro expectations have not really changed yet. For them to change, we need to see this downtrend break for Bitcoin, and we need to see this strength, which we have seen as a consequence of the news over the last, 8 hours now, sustain. We need to see the demand sustain. And if we see that demand sustain, if we see the price action sustain these levels into the weekly, break through, create new highs, then that is a fantastic sign for Bitcoin to continue higher. But until then, we cannot trust just this news event at the moment. We have to be aware there is still downside risk. And I'll say it again, pray for the best, expect the worst. This is still a deviation setup. This is still a breakdown in the RSI. It's still a weakening positive momentum shift on the MCB, okay? We have still a local top. We have still a breakout failure over here. There is so much going on in the chart that potentially runs the risk of steeper corrections. The only thing that really saved the price action was the de-escalation. If the de-escalation didn't happen, we would likely have continued down immediately. So we need to be aware that if this de-escalation does not follow through, if we see the escalation continue, if we see the ceasefire fall through, it is possible the price action will react. So with that being said, the conditions are very risky. There is a lot of uncertainty around what is going to happen and how it is going to happen as a consequence of the price being reactive to news events, external factors that no one can control, right? No one knew there was going to be a ceasefire yesterday, okay? 6 hours ago, everyone was calling for a bear market. And now people are seeing a ceasefire and everyone's saying we're going to go 170,000. So it's up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Be patient, watch to see what happens. If you're unsure, just sideline yourself, right? There's no risk in sidelining yourself. A big mistake everyone makes is they feel like they need to be in the market for every single move. The market's here tomorrow, it's here the day after, it's here in a year, it's here in 10 years, it's here in 100 years. It'll be here well after you are gone. What's the rush? There is no rush, okay? Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is my thoughts, my opinions. Of course, I'm not telling you what to do. This is simply what I see the charts doing, and I like to share what I believe and what I understand to you guys. So thanks for listening, thanks for tuning in, and catch you guys on Thursday's video. Hopefully, a lot more has happened by then, and hopefully, this conflict does remain dissolved. Hopefully, we see Bitcoin go higher, but the risks are still present on the chart. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys then. Bye.